Yo, 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 what's going on? It's the NRW where nerds rule the world. It's your boy, Kuya P, and I have with me the homies. First up, I got from You're So Cool, his new show, new podcast interviews. My guy, breaking down all the reviews as well. Rob, the movie guy. What's up, Rob?
It's all good, man. What's up? How are you doing?
Good, man. Good to see you, brother. And we loving You're So Cool. Shout out to you on that, man. And if you haven't seen it, catch him. First episode was David M. Latt from Asylum. And the next episode that is getting ready to drop, as of this recording, I think it'll already be out. We have Ashlyn Yenny. She was in The Human Centipede and is now in The Antidote. Check that out. Good stuff, Rob. I love that you're breaking out, doing some interviews now besides the reviews, man. Looks good, man. Good stuff. Also, you know him, we love him. He's been with the squad a long time. My brother from another mother from Level Up Comedy, Mr. Glenn Lawrence. What's up, brother?
What's up? Skibbity bop bop. Let's rock.
Yes, sirs.
Bars. I didn't realize I had those bars midday.
Hey, man, you know what? It's all good. You know what I forgot to mention, man? Check out my boy Glenn with the Blur Dad podcast. We also have that playlist on the NRW channel. My man Glenn is going to be a father, and so he's getting all the insight from all of us other fathers that are out there. And I love it. I love the journey, and I love how you're bringing in people to just get knowledge and spread knowledge, man. Good shit.
Absolutely, man. And you know, Rob, you're so cool. I think I'd love to have you on it too, bro.
Oh man, I would love to, man. Absolutely.
Yes. So we all us fathers up in here learning with what it's about, having kids and all that stuff. And so let's talk about like when you have kids. Well, that's not really this film, but you know what? Actually, that was a weird lead in. I don't know where I was going. I was thinking first dates, but then this is about a father and stuff.
If it goes well, that's where it leads.
But we're going to talk about this film called First Date. It's from Magnolia's Magnet Releasing. It will be in theaters and VOD on July 2nd. It is being described as the out all night throwback thrill ride from first time directing duo Manuel Crosby and Darren Knapp. It was a Sundance favorite that was compared to Superbad meets True Romance. Stay tuned to the NRW channel because I will be speaking with both Manuel Crosby and Darren Knapp, as well as the breakout stars Tyson Brown and Shelby Duclos. So stay tuned. It's coming soon. So a little bit about the film before we break it down. Shy, wide-eyed high schooler Mike, played by Tyson Brown, finally summons the courage to ask out his badass neighbor, Kelsey, played by Shelly Duclos, only to realize he's missing a key element for a successful date, the car. Panicked and low on cash, he's conned into buying a beat-up 65 Chrysler. Mike's plan to win over Kelsey soon turns into a surreal misadventure when they are inexplicably targeted by a pair of cops, a criminal gang, and a vengeful cat lady. A night fueled by desire, bullets, and burning rubber makes any other first date seem like a walk in the park. So there's your breakdown. Unfortunately, we don't have a trailer for you all. So we're just going to have some fun and get into this. There's a lot of feelings on this that I'm sure you're going to hear and understand. So before we get into all that, to start off a little bit light and lead into some fun with this, I'm curious, gentlemen, can you recall a first date of yours and how that go? Let me start with you, Rob Medina, the movie guy.
Actually, I was just literally, you said that, I was just thinking about my wife and I's first date. It was nothing to that extreme what we saw in the movie, but
I would hope not.
No, thankfully. But I was going to take her out to, because this is when I used to live in Virginia, so I was going to take her to DC, to the DC Improv actually. And at the time, I had no GPS. This is like way back in the early days, and I got lost. And I was so bad with directions at that time. Now I've gotten better, but we were walking around in the area that the DC Improv was located. And long story short, couldn't find it. And we ended up leaving DC, going to a restaurant, ate, and we had a good time. It was a really, really good time. Despite all the mishaps that happened along the way, we got to know each other a lot more because the entire time we just spent with each other just talking. And if it wasn't for that, who knows if we would have been together. So yeah, it's a long story, but it's a unique one for me because didn't plan it that way and it turned out that way. So yeah.
Dope. You know what? It's good. It's I guess fortuitous, right? Or serendipitous that you would have that type of a situation for a first date. A lot of times that type of serendipity like leads you to like talk to your partner a lot more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus if you would have went there, you would have watched the show, and then as a comedian, I know that we can ruin relationships on the first date.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Just like
I was gonna sit in the back though.
Yeah, like never take your first date to a comedy show, because it's somehow like us comics always can like sense it. It's like, is that it's a first date here? Yeah. We like sniff it out, and then we're like making jokes. So congratulations, bro. You got out of some hot water on that one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
she was really cool though. So
yeah,
that helped
right?
out.
Unfortunately, the characters in this film did not make it out so easily on their first date. They didn't.
Yeah. So tell us about yours, Glenn. I'm curious. Question back to you.
First date, I don't even remember. I'm like old. I can't remember like what it was. I remember some weird situations, but my first date with my current wife, that was nice. That was, it was at my apartment. It was before COVID, but I lured her over here, and then I made her dinner, and we had a really nice time. It's funny because I decided I was on a vegetarian kick, and I decided to try a new dish, and I decided to make gnocchi. And she came over, and she didn't tell me this until after, but it happened to be a dish that she used to make with her grandmother when she was like really young. So it's like, one of those dishes that, like takes you back. It's very nostalgic. And then here I was in the kitchen, and what she didn't know is I've never made it before. So it was the first time, and it actually turned out like perfect. And I've tried to make it sense, and it always is ruined. The things fall apart or whatever, but it's just like I made it perfectly, and it tasted delicious, and the rest is history. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. That's awesome. And now that you said that, it's recalling, that's what I talked about as part of my wedding speech when I was doing your wedding. Being your officiant. So that's awesome. That's beautiful, guys. Thank you guys for sharing. There's some first dates can be successes, some can not, or they can be memorable, like in this film with these two stars. For me, since y'all chimed in, I'll just chime in real quick. My wife and before she was my wife, because I can't remember that far back because I'm an old head as well. But when with Ebony, we went to go see that. It was a film, but we ended up talking the whole time in the theater. So I don't even remember really what the film was. I think it was like You Got Mail or something like that. And
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I think it was that. I think it was Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Yes, it. Yep. And we chatted. Ryan. We sat in the back of the theater and we chatted the whole time. So I'm sure if there are people close to us, they're like, "Shut the fuck up!" But we were talking the whole time and just getting to know each other. So that was beautiful.
Yeah, I did go on a date before. Sorry, this is way tangent. I did go on a date before where like my date wanted to fight someone in the theater, and it was like it was weird because I'm like I'm like, yo, chill, and so I'm trying to make it chill, whereas like. I don't know. She was ready to go ham on this dude because we went to go see Olympus Has Fallen or something, or White House Down, and like we're laughing.
So romantic.
Like, this is ridiculous.
I know,
but
right?
Maybe he was like a vet or something, and he was just getting like mad, like angry and PTSD. Like, it's not funny. People are dying. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this is clearly a comedy.
We went to the theaters one time with my wife, and a couple friends of ours, to Potomac Mills, and we saw Scary Movie 3 when it come out.
Okay.
And a fight almost broke out there. Cops got involved right literally the moment the show was about to begin. All that just ended right there. But it was one of the most memorable nights I had in the theater because I had to do something with the guy, someone not wanting getting out of the seat. The girl refused to give that up. That was a whole thing.
Wow, that would be entertaining, especially if the movie's just like
and it turned out the movie was okay, but it was nice to have that nice setup. And I was like, damn, this is gonna be a good night. And then we walked out, we're like, man, fuck that movie. But yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. That's dope, man. Fun times at the movies, y'all. Fun times at the movies. So is first date a fun time at the movie? We'll break it down right now. So gentlemen, how do y'all want to start this, man? So we'll kind of walk, I guess, through the film a little bit. We have young Mike, high schooler Mike, who's with his friend. He's riding his bicycle and he sees this neighbor, Kelsey. She's kind of like an MMA girl a little bit. She's hitting the bag, yo. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, you got to have the jock. You have to have all these different stereotypes. Mm-hmm. He comes through with his flashy car, almost hits my man Mike with the car. So he falls and hurts himself a little bit, and he tries to put the moves on Kelsey. But Kelsey's quickly like, nah, son, I'm not rocking with you. You're too much of a jock. I see through you. You're just trying to fuck me. And then kind of that's what happens there. And so my man Mike though is super shy, doesn't know how to make any moves, and so no action happens there. And then after that, I'm trying to remember everything because it's been a minute since I watched this to us doing this review. How did they get into the first day happening?
He's in his room with his friend, and then they call
his friend
her,
pressures him, right?
She's like, yeah, and then
he got the number somehow. I can't remember how
it was a call.
He stole the number from another friend that we never see. We stole it from her phone.
Yeah,
and then he makes the call. Or he tells his friend, he tells Mike to make the call, and then he makes the call, and then he gets asked out on a date awkwardly.
Yeah, which I kind of like that part. Yeah, it's we're like friends, your boy ain't making the move. Your boy really likes this chick. Let me help my guy out. Just have that phone call. And I guess the friend sees that, hey, she kind of digs you. So, let's see what will happen. And they get that push. And so he's like, you know what? You got like, I think he had like 2,700. And all he needed was like $3,000 to buy a car.
Yeah, because his friend was telling him, you got to get a car, but his parents were leaving to, I think, Las Vegas, and they leave the car. And then he told his friend, I don't have anything to go pick her up. And he was like, well, we got a car. You got $3,000. He's like, no, I got 2,700. He's well, your dad has like $3,000 in his drawer. How he knew that? The thing about his friends that his friend knew everything. And we never knew how he found out about those things.
Yes, so
like
some plot holes there.
Yeah, it's a convenience thing that worked, I guess, in favor for the plot. But he got the money, ended up go picking up the vehicle, and that's pretty much where the film kind of just takes a whole different turn at that point.
Yeah. So there you go. There's your whole setup. We're going on this first date, and then it just hysteria happens. So the first moment of wildness. So he goes to buy this car. This 65 Chrysler from this dealer. The car he thinks he's getting that I think he was initially built. I guess he saw it on the internet. Is actually owned by a neighbor.
Time out. Rewind. Because you left out the very first scene, which was random guy talking on the phone to his girlfriend.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then
Anthony.
getting a shot during that phone call, and then her breaking up with them as
okay, I remember that now.
And the reason why, I don't know if we're jumping into just talking about the reason why, is because that scene had no effect on the movie, whatever. What why was that the opening scene? What just happened? It's random.
It was kind of glossed over. I thought it had like a really impact, which it kind of did. They kind of do visit that, but we don't see the visuals again to really connect everything together.
Yeah.
So that was I'm sure we'll get to that later on, but because I'm glad you brought that up, because that was the opener for the scene, for the film rather. But I
would say it's the mark of where I guess a lot of times films certain kind of spoon feed the viewer sometimes, and it's just hey, they're gonna give you things for a reason, but it's up to you as a viewer to put it all together. I know we do like to have it make some sense, but I think that's exactly why, in a way, in their methodology of frameworking of this film. But again, and as we'll discuss, because it doesn't have that cohesion that we're used to, it just kind of makes us like, what the fuck is going on here?
Question.
I don't know, maybe that's their style, but it can. I hear your point in that regard.
Did they ever set it up what year or what era this film was?
You know what? I don't know about. I don't feel that they did, and I'm confused in that regard as well.
I don't think they did, because if you look at the vehicles, I'm assuming it has to do with the budget, because the vehicles weren't the greatest that we've seen, with the exception of maybe the jock next door. I forgot his name in the movie.
The Carrera.
Was that the word? Okay, so his vehicle is like really the only expensive one that we see in the entirety of the film, as far as like quality vehicles are concerned. But everyone else pretty much had like an outdated type of model of some sort. So and then there's in the movie, the girl that the kid has a crush on is playing an 8-track. So there's really no sense of like time. It's all kind of
that is true, yeah. But then they did say it was old school, so I think it really could fit though at any time. It's just there in certain neighborhoods, in certain areas, the Midwest or Arizona or some shit, which I would like kind of put it in that region for me as a viewer.
Because even the parents' van was like,
Yeah.
that looks like it was from like the early 2000s, 90s or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know much about cars, but
Like,
that's kind of looked like to me.
Well, the reason why I brought it up is because the very first scene, especially when you're in, we're in 2021 now, and the very first scene where someone has a corded phone, and they're using that for a comedic effect.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, so either this has to be set in like the 90s or like, because no one has corded phones now. Like, it's a rarity that people have corded phones, and it's something that is very
Unless you're like in an office or something.
Yeah, unless you're like in an office or something like that. No one has them like at home. So that was the first thing I was just like, like what era are we in here?
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry I brought that whole thing, but that like the first scene had me because I like the whole setup of talking with your girlfriend as you get killed as she breaks up with you. You know what I mean? Like I thought that was a really cool setting and outcome for it, and I was interested to see how that played into the plot. And then the movie just happened. And
that's where I'm trying to kind of unsure if I want to break it down scene by scene, like you're saying, because this movie is kind of like all over the place. So I just want to give a generic run through. So if I miss a scene, Glenn, we'll just cover it. Sorry. He goes to buy the car. The guy turns out to be somewhat shady. Like I said, because the car he thought he was buying was that's an understatement, right? The car he thought was buying was actually like a neighbor's car. And then the neighbor's like, get away from my car. I'm trying to get into my car. And he's like, no, I just sold that car and come over here. We got something else for you. And so it was like a bait and switch kind of deal. And come to find out, it's this Hoopty 65 Chrysler. He buys it, goes away with it, and then notices certain things.
Remember, you're leaving out an important detail. The reason why he actually got it was because of the 8-track. Because the girl was listening to the 8-track, and he thought by getting, because when he saw the 8-track, he's like, oh, she's got some cassettes or whatever they're called for 8-track.
I copy that. I got you. All right, those story elements will come. I'm just trying to give a brief, unless you want to break it down. Like
no,
because he buys this car, finds something missing. He found something missing or whatever, so he has to go back, and then all of a sudden, the crazy wife of the seller starts shooting at him. And that's just where the insanity to me
he found jewelry. He found a whole bunch of jewelry in there, which is why
in the glove compartment.
So he
during when the police had pulled him over.
Which is so. I mean, I don't know. For me personally, let me just keep it a buck. I thought there was a lot of decisions here that I was like, "What? This doesn't make like."
Well, hold up, Glenn. Are we going to break it down then? Because are we just going to give the gloss over of everything that happened first?
Oh, sure. We could gloss it over.
We keep pausing. You guys keep pausing me.
But there's so much here that I'm just like, I want to understand like the motivation for it. I think that's where my review, my thought process is on this. It's not so much that I'm being critical. I want to understand. I want to understand. Like, what was the thought of this? So we can quickly get to that. Go ahead. Sorry, sorry, I keep interrupting.
It's all good, man. So he buys the car, finds his jewelry, has to go back. But then we also have this cop that pulls him over, which is a major character group there. Comes back, gets shot out by the crazy cat lady wife. Leaves from that, I think. And now I'm starting to get lost. But then there's like a gang of people that are after them. No,
they're a book club. They're not a gang.
They're a book club. They're a book club, but they're really a gang. And you know what? Now I'm already lost. So like that's where just this film just takes. That's where the true romance part of this film comes into play. And just they're taking all over the place. And he's supposed to go on the date with this girl, but he can't make it because he has the car. But then there's drugs in the car, and then guys. Now you guys can have it because I don't know where to go with this because again, this film is all over the place. It's an interesting film, but there's pluses and negatives to this. So who wants to go in first, Glenn? Glenn,
Rob, go ahead.
Because I was going to say you, I'm sure.
I'm going to go on a tangent.
Well, for me, what kind of confused me about the movie was that they keep like flipping back and forth between certain scenes, or actually like one scenario has happened with, for example, like the guy the kid buying the car, escaping from that crazy cat lady. Then you switch over to another location with the book club where they're talking about, what was it? Where's the vehicle at? And I'm like, so what vehicle are they talking about? And they're talking about some guy named Anthony. And I'm like, who's this guy, Anthony? So I was confused about who they were talking about, what was actually going on. And then once that scene ended, it goes right back to another scene with our main characters. And then it kind of flips back and forth. And then some other things happen along the way where there's that old couple that recognized their vehicle that the kid was driving. And there's a whole scene with them where they're about to like have sex in front of him. And he's like, hey guys, and gets up and walks out. I was like, dude, I would have told him, get the fuck out of my car. Because you guys are just, I don't want your splooge.
Old people sperm.
Oh yeah.
So it's like little things like that kind of threw me off. Not that I think it was, I think it could have worked. And so I know we're going to get into our thoughts about the film, but there's certain things that
I thought it was very Tarantino-esque in different ways.
Right. But
you know
I
what I'm
don't
saying?
think
Like I understood it.
Yeah. I don't think it really had that same effect that, films that taken that approach have done very well. I think this movie certainly did that, but it for me, it kind of missed the mark in certain attempts that they were trying to go for. But I mean, I like the outlet, all that craziness that was going on. I thought that was cool as far as like the setup, but then the actual payoff didn't really do that much for me. Because once you go from one place over to another and then back to another, there's certain things that are missed out that you don't pick up on until later on as the story progresses, which I kind of wish we were. I understand what they were trying to go for, but I don't know. I felt like something was missing when it came to those kind of transitions from one scene to the other, because it was kind of all over the place, and then they go back at the end, and now everything's back together in a much more cohesive manner. So I felt a little lost, but then again, maybe I'm not that smart, so it took me a while to catch on to it because I had to go back and watch certain scenes again to make sure. Oh, okay, so that's Tony. That's the guy from the beginning of the movie. Now it makes sense, but you don't see him again, so that's why I was a little confused.
Yeah, so I agree with you, and I'll just add to that. I thought not only were the settings all over the place, I thought the tone was all over the place.
Yes.
1 minute it's like slapsticky, like humor, and then it's like really like visceral, like bloody, you know what I mean, like shooting or whatever, and then it's like really serious, and then it's like slapsticky again. So I thought that the tone was kind of all over the place, which made it feel disjointed when you're jumping from scene to scene, because one scene is like slapsticky with the roommate or I'm sorry, the friend or whatever, and then the next scene is like kind of serious with the book club, but then they're like yelling in like a comedic way, and then you meet the grandparents who are really, or the old people who are really connected. So it's all over the place. I feel like all the pieces of it were interesting. I like how they did an ensemble thing, and they were able to kind of pull off the whole ensemble, multiple storylines kind of converging. I just thought it was a little I thought that was a little bit confusing. I definitely did feel the Tarantino type thing. Anytime you see Magnet Pictures come up, you're like, oh, this is going to be like a good indie flick, you know what I'm saying? And it got that feel right out of the gate, but it started building, and every time there was another scene, I had another question. You know what I mean? Like each scene led me to another question where, instead of like an answer.
Yeah, I think, I don't know for you about KP, if you ever felt that way, because when I was watching the movie, I don't know if you guys had picked up on how whenever the main guy would, I forgot his name again. What's the big Mike? Yeah, thank you. So whenever Mike would make these decisions of, having to, not speak up and say, just tell the cops the truth, or tell, there's a lot of things that I had I'm sure we'll get into with our negatives, but the first thing that I had a big issue with is the decisions that the character Mike makes. I had a big problem with it because all the things that start to unfold as a result of his lack of proper decision making, for some reason, bothered me the whole time. From the very moment all the way through. That was always a sticking point. Usually that doesn't bother me so much because the journey that they go through is so good, and you see all the developments that they go through. It's part of the journey that they have to go through for them to get that full character development. Yeah. And I never really felt that. So, that's one major sticking point for me that comes to mind right now. But Are we going to get into some of the positives about the film? Because I'm sure
you can
I'm
do
sure
both.
quite a few.
Yeah, to me, just like this film, this review is going to be a little bit all over the place.
Well, do you think you might have been annoyed with the decisions because the main character doesn't ever talk? Like he doesn't talk for like the first half of the film. I was like, why?
It was hard to like him. It was hard to like him. It was hard to be, you know.
It's hard for me to side with him with all the things he was going through, because the thing is that I know people like that in real life, and I stay away from people like that in real life because they're the ones that make these decisions that aren't good and they don't think it through, and then someone else has to pick up the pieces. And maybe that's just too close to home for me, where I can't separate myself for that. But again, I've seen a lot of movies where characters make bad decisions like that, and the journey they go through, it's worthwhile despite some of the reservations you may have about them. But I still got along. I still started to like them as the story progressed because there were some changes that were being made. But this guy stayed exactly the same all the way through. Yeah. And decisions that he was still making were terrible.
Yeah. So although it did work out because he got the girl in the end, so maybe
and that was kind of the problem that I had with the movie too, because the girl, clearly she saw something in him that she liked, and I have to agree. I think he was a good. He seemed like a really good person. I'm not taking that away, but it's just through all the issues all the trauma that they went through. Rather, it's like I don't know. I just could not see what she saw in him outside of him just being a nice guy. Like there's really not a lot that I could see outside of him making an attempt to save her life, but there was really nothing that I really connected with their love, with their I guess you could say the love story. I didn't have anything that I could connect with one in that regard. I don't know if you guys felt that same way too.
No. I mean, but I think I think the issue is if you have a character who is like that, who's very quiet, doesn't say anything, they need to have a mouthpiece. They need to have someone who's like kind of guiding you through why they're doing things, or because like you said, Rob, like you don't know why the person's making the choice. So the choice seems like a bad decision because you didn't hear what their rationale was, or you don't know what their rationale was. You're like, well, why'd you do that? You know what I mean? Like it might have made total sense to buy the car. But I mean, here's the thing. For all the faults that I'm bringing up with the movie, for some reason I was engaged in it the whole time. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
There were some moments.
I mean, it definitely kept me engaged. And I'll of course I like to keep it very, very honest. But I was like, why that? What just happened? Why did the dude sell him the car? But he knew that there was like 2 like kilos of cocaine in it. Like, wait, what?
Did he know that? I don't remember if he even knew that.
Did the guy not know? I thought he did know.
I didn't know. I thought
then they like captured him. Because they captured him, and then I thought like at the end they were like, yeah, we should all just do this deal together next time. But I don't know. Maybe I was confused by it, but I thought he did have some inkling that it was in there. Because he had all the stolen jewelry too, so I thought that was his like.
Well, he was aware of the jewelry. I don't think he was aware of the drugs.
Yeah, because I think
no. I take that back. There was a scene where he saw some powder, so he may have knew a little bit, but that was very close to then when it got taken over. So I don't think he honestly knew.
Well, if you remember in the movie too, when the kid got into the car and he was telling and the guy, I forgot his name, was telling him to drive it. He found the phone that belonged to the other guy from the beginning of the movie, and he was like, "What the hell is this doing here?" So that was kind of like an inkling that I remember that he really didn't know what was going on, because even he said to the guy that was holding them all hostage that if I knew Anthony was doing this, I wouldn't have sold the car. So I mean, I guess now that I think about it, I must have
missed that.
Yeah, trust me. I went back, rewinded a few times just to make sure that I got it. Yeah, I'm being serious. I was like, what the fuck just happened here? So who's so like I had to go back and check it out again. But yeah. Do you think that maybe if his friend, the guy from the beginning of this movie, went along with him, do you think it probably could have helped out with the story?
I think it would have, because and this is the other thing. I think the friend was very over to the top, because he's supposed to be that over the top friend. Yeah. But I think if he had more like time with Mike, then he doesn't have to be so over the top in the beginning of the film, because he only has 2, like real main parts. Mm-hmm. He could like spread that kind of zaniness out over the course of the film, as opposed to like try to pack it all into the very beginning. Yeah. that's just my, my opinion on it. But yeah, it just keeps getting wilder. What did y'all think? Like, as soon as the cops walked up and the one cop had short sleeves, I was like, this is what are we doing? Anytime a cop had short sleeves, I'm like, I'm out of it. I can't.
It just takes you out of the a weird costuming choice, but at the same time, I don't know. Again, I went to a very Tarantino state of mind with this project because of just how everything just from the jump off played out. That that's how that it felt like an art house film for me. So I already got myself into that frame of mind, and I knew it was going to be zaniness and that they were going to be crazy characters, which it gave me. So I was able to kind of take myself out of it. Because I felt that there's what they were going for. That didn't bother me for the costume choice wise, Glenn, as it did you. But it was just my overall thing with this project was just the cohesion of that was done that has been done better in Tarantino. So it felt like a Tarantino impression. You know what I'm saying? It felt like an art house impression. Does that make it a bad film? No. But does it make it Tarantino? Not at all either. So it kept me going throughout the entire film. Like you were saying, like we were all intrigued by it. We wanted to see where it was going next. Yeah. But did it fully execute? Did I fully connect with all the characters? No. But did it keep me enthralled and interested for the however time span it was? It did. You know? Yeah, that's just where that's where I'm trying to where I can say about it, for me.
I think for me though, to me, maybe this is I don't know if it's the right way of saying it, but to me, it felt like it was an inspiration of a movie that took inspiration from Quentin Tarantino. So it was like a hand-me-down type of inspiration type of deal. That's kind of what I felt about it, because there are other movies you watch that are inspired by Tarantino films, and you could see that influence, but they put their own flavor into it, and some of them have worked very well. This movie, to me, it felt like I saw Tarantino, loved that. Oh, but I also saw that movie that was inspired by Tarantino and loved that. I'm gonna try something like that. So it was like a hand-me-down form of I guess copy and pasting. I don't know if that's the best way to explain it, but that's kind of how I felt about it when I was watching the film, which is why I feel like some things kind of missed the mark for me.
Yeah, I definitely I enjoyed the idea and exploring it. And they're like, these things that I'm talking about, they just, took me out of it for a little bit. Like especially, in the current climate that we have, like a black guy getting pulled over by the cops, and then the cops are just like, I don't know, it's weird because in that instance, when the cops are in on it, the fact that the car has like mad drugs, like why, like they just let them go and then they come back and then they're like, yeah, we're actually the bad ones, and then or maybe, oh wait, should I have said spoiler alert?
It's all good. It's all good.
That's a twist, but to find out that they're in on it, it's like, wait, why didn't you why'd you just stop him the first time? And then the other cop was kind of like cock blocking on the first date. Don't answer that. You can't talk to him. It's like,
why was he so cock blocky? That's what annoyed me with him.
Blocked. That's what it was.
You would have thought that he would have been sympathetic
exactly.
Yeah. But that's who the woman was, and I was like, okay, maybe it's a nice flip of the script, but it kind of threw me off.
But I don't like to be super critical because it's hard to make these things, and I think what they put into it was good. I think the actors they did a pretty good job with what they were giving. It looked consistent throughout. The film looked consistent throughout. There's these little tweaks that I would have liked to see. Maybe in the sequel, I would definitely check out a first date.
A first date too? Another date?
Another date.
Second date?
Yeah, second date. You know what I mean? Or call it first date part 2, second base.
That's funny. I like that.
Great plot, but just execution. I think we can all agree they had a great plot, they had a great idea, but it was the execution that kind of fell flat.
I mean, there's look, I wrote down a lot of things about this. I did
Well, tell us more.
Feel like it was
What do you
very.
have?
I feel like it was improv-y. It was like it seemed like like an improv troupe.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like doing things like, all right, give them.
What was the most improv element?
I think it was with the book club. I think that's where I got it from.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Book club?
So yeah, with the book club thing, it felt very like improv-y, and then the rest of it kind of takes on that air when
I'm
you're
agree
intermixing
with that.
those scenes throughout. You know what I mean? So the book club thing felt very improv-y.
Yeah.
And then like the rest of it, because you're kind of off put by the main character not having that much to say, the cop coming through with the short sleeves, you know what I'm saying? So like all these elements made me feel like, oh, this is kind of like an improv thing that they're doing here, which I don't know if that's the case or whatever, but again, I think the pieces were there. They were just put together in a way that I thought was odd and left me with questions after each scene. But apparently, a lot of people like it, and I'm on the what I guess the opposite side of the spectrum in terms of people who weren't as critical of the movie.
So well, it's all good, man. It's all good. That's what we're here to do. Is to break it down a little bit, or at least give our insights. I think, for you, Glenn, and well, I know for myself as a filmmaker, it's hard to make a film. Yeah. So I give him kudos for putting it together, and at least was an accomplished and a good looking product at the end of the day. Yeah. Did they meet their goals? They didn't. But
as a filmmaker who's made a random ass film that didn't make sense, I commend them. I'm like, yeah, I've done that too. I made a film that didn't, you know what I mean? Like, it made sense or whatever. There's just like some things you're like, what? But as someone who's actually produced and made something along those lines, a short film that other people are like, what? I get it. I understand the plight, and I commend them. I think they did an excellent job of bringing something forward that was interesting. I would have loved to get an answer to some of these questions that we have, but at the same time, I think I liked it.
Yeah. So let's hit up the characters. So we kind of discussed the overall plot storyline of the film. I think the actors were great, but what I think also just led to the downfall though of this film was our lead in not feeling as sympathetic towards
he wasn't
his plight
for me.
I thought he was decent in the parts that he actually did talk, but he didn't talk that much, and we didn't, I guess, felt endeared to him. And how did you feel about them making him such a shy
weak character?
Shy, weak. I don't know. Would you say those are descriptive words of his character, guys? Meek. Meek is very appropriate.
Yeah.
Do you think they were trying to defy stereotypes, which I think which I enjoyed? They didn't make him a quote unquote, you know what I'm saying, stereotypical black character. Would you know
what I'll say? I feel like every character in the film, like you've seen that caricature of a character before, right? And I feel like they were all over the top, right? Mm-hmm. So like even the parents, when they're off to Vegas, it's like the wild partying parents that got to get out of there. Like they were like real over the top, and they skirted out. Or the friend who's real zany, over the top. The cop, everybody was like over the top in terms of their character, and I feel like the main character was over the top with his shyness. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's a good point. I like.
You know what I mean? Like, so it seemed like everybody was doing the most. I think
doing the most. Yeah.
But since his character was shy, he was doing the most shyness.
Which didn't help his character.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think personally. He was too meek. Like I wanted to feel the brother.
It's hard. It's hard because I wrote that down. I was just like, the main character doesn't talk ever. Like this, it's odd.
I want to go back with what you guys have said earlier about stereotypical characters. This movie is actually pretty diverse as far as like some of the leads are concerned. Because I think his love interest in the movie is she Hispanic? If I remember,
she looked like she came off Hispanic, but I don't know for certain.
Yeah, because she looked like she's mixed from her mother. Yeah. So anyway, I like the idea that the characters are who they are, but there's no mention of color. It's just that's who they are.
Right.
And I appreciate it. Even the only thing though I did think at one point is like, I hope they don't do this here, was when the cops pulled over the kid. And I thought if they're white guys, then this might be going to a different direction. But we got a female and we got a black cop. And I was like, okay, so they're not doing what I was hoping they weren't going to do. Where they were going to do something completely different and just make the characters who they are, and the skin color is secondary. So I appreciated that. But going back to Mike, as I said earlier, I thought because he was too, because he didn't have someone there along along the way with him, because his friend, if you think about it, was the one that drove him to do those things, get the car, talk to the girl. He forced him in that situation. And I think that was a nice setup for him, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that with his friend being there, because I think his friend was actually that added flavor that started off really good in the beginning of the movie for me. And then afterwards, it kind of just fell apart with, the middle section with him just being monotone the entire, like he was consistently, I hate to say it like this, boring for me. He wasn't interesting for me at all whatsoever. Everyone else around him was very interesting for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you should feel, I don't know. I didn't connect with the guy, man.
Yeah. Same here.
But yeah.
I did. I wanted to connect more with the main character and his plight, and the girl or whatever. And
I was happy he got the girl at the end though. Okay, I was like, all right, boom, he finally did something.
Yo, can we the meathead dude? I think the most connection or the most connected I felt was when the meathead dude, when his car got blown up. Like that was what I was. I felt for him. That was such a heart. That was like, ah! Like it was like I felt bad for dude. I was just like, oh man, that part that got to me. That was a deep part. But it was just a lot of weirdness. I don't know. Did you guys? I wrote down, "I'm no Nick Cage." I thought that was the funniest part of the movie when I think one of the robber dudes was like, "I'm no Nick Cage. Like I can't do this. I'm no Nick Cage."
I'm trying to remember when I heard that.
Like I think they were talking about how to get the car back or something like that, and they had to and he was like, "I'm no Nick Cage."
I do remember that now.
What y'all think of like towards the end of the finale, man? This whole kind of crazy shootout.
It was okay for me, to be honest with you.
And like, how didn't people? Some people got. Some people took a minute to get got.
Mm-hmm.
And
I thought that
kind of a climax.
It was a great rounding up of all the characters. Right?
Yeah.
Like you're in this big Mexican standoff, and in my mind, I'm like, all right, all the characters are here. How's it like? How does it get to the point where the gun goes off? If you have a gun in the scene, it has to go off, right? That's the thing. So I was like, how does the gun go off in this? And then I had forgot about the wife, and then she like pops her head back in, and just she comes back and she has the bandage for the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Which I thought was it's so like, again, improv type, what I mean? But so she comes back in and she's in. But I did think, I was like, oh, that's a great way to wrap up and get this kind of crazy thing going where everybody starts shooting. And again, the wife is like real slapsticky, kind of funny and whatever. But then she triggers like this big bloody, like visceral shootout, which I was just like, whoa, okay. That's a weird way to put those two things together. But I just thought it was there's decisions in the shootout that made me be like, huh, like what?
And then to leave from there, and we get away from the scene. They're driving away, but then they find each other again. They escape, and then all of a sudden they run into the crazy cat lady who starts the gunfight. She survived along with her husband. But then they also had the book club leader in their back seat, and then the cops one more time. Like,
yeah. Well, it was
for the final climax.
It was very weird to me, where the female cop is like, "Let me drive," and then she starts swerving because she's shot, and then he tries to help, and then she pulls a gun on him. It's just like, no.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what? And then
and Caps
like she gets hit in the face with all the cocaine, and he tries to help again, and then she shoots him and said, "I told you, I got it." And I'm like, what? Your face is covered in cocaine, and then he shoots her. It's like, what?
Bruh.
Yeah. I didn't get that like divide between them, because it seemed like they were kind of in a good spot, and then later on, as the story progressed, you can kind of see there's like a wedge between them that we don't know what had caused it in the first place. So it was kind of like just one of those things where you just have to take it on face value that they have
Yeah.
problems. And
I thought they
for
were
whatever
smashing.
reason.
Did you think they were smashing? I thought they were.
I
like,
thought so.
I got the feeling
I could
that
see
they were
that,
like,
but it would have been nice to see that though. Hey, you fucked me last night. It was really good.
Yeah.
Why'd you leave me for this girl?
Yeah, give
Yeah,
more lead
uh,
up, give more
yeah.
background to it, and they didn't develop it like
yeah,
that.
it was kind of just a turn on a dime, basically, where she's like,
Yeah.
"Fuck it, I'm gonna shoot you," and then she does shoot him. It was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
But it was.
And then he shoots her too.
and then he shoots her, and then it's like, what? And then at the end, where the ringleader for the thing for the book club or whatever, they're just
Walked
like
away empty-handed.
he just walked away into the into the night, and it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, I guess they're saving him for a sequel or whatever. It was a lot of randomness to it. And we're all over the place with spoilers, but the movie was all over the place. But I'll say this: if what they were going for was just kind of like an irreverent, wild kind of old school, super bad type of feel, I think they did it. I think one thing that would have helped is if the tone was consistent throughout, so you knew what you were getting. If you knew you were getting slapstick comedy, then make that the tone throughout, as opposed to like switch back and forth to like this gritty, like Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction type, bloody.
Kind of reminded me of a Pineapple Express a bit too.
Yeah.
That was heavily inspired by True Romance, mainly from Brad Pitt's character.
Mhm.
That's what they took that from. So I was sort of picking up those vibes from that movie.
Yeah, for sure.
So before we leave, gentlemen, I will say this then. So I got to ask you this because of all those kind of similar films, Pineapple Express. They're comparing it to True Romance as well as Superbad. If we were all high, how much more do you think we would have enjoyed this film? I think it would have been an amazing film. To be honest with you, if I shut my brain down, I think I would have probably enjoyed this 1,000 times more.
I don't
think it was a bad film. It just wasn't consistent.
It reminds me of when you go see a 3D film and they're like, please put on your 3D glasses. It's like, please spark up your blunt.
I'm saying, toke up, y'all. Pump weed into the theater.
I don't know. Yeah. Perhaps I know I would have still been like, because I think when you're in that mindset, you're kind of just like, what, crazy, and you might have taken you away. But I don't. I don't know.
It gets my stoner recommendation. I'll say that then.
There you go.
For me,
it definitely is a wild
totally stoner film.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I'm being critical because that's why I'm here, and that's what I do. Just keep it honest. It would suck, a film like this, like Justice League comes out and I have all these problems with it, and another film comes out and I'm just like, no, it was great. But I'm not grading on a curve here. All right. I'm gonna be just as critical as I am of Zack Snyder's masterpiece, quote unquote, Justice League long extended cut, as I am of a indie film. And I just think there's a couple of tone things that could have been addressed here that I think that would be the biggest thing, and as much as I didn't like the friend as a sidekick, I felt like he needed to be in there more to give voice to the Mike character,
kind of balance it out.
Talking.
All right, so would you recommend it, Glenn, before we take it over to Rob?
Listen, I just like you recommended it to us. I want to recommend it to everybody else. I want everybody else to suffer through it like I did, so we could compare notes. It reminded me of like The Room. You know how you saw The Room and like,
oh yeah. I don't think it's bad as The Room though.
It's not as bad as The Room. It's definitely not as bad as The Room. It's actually pretty well put together, but it does give me that vibe of like where you're looking at things like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I did like it. I did. For some reason, with all my complaints or whatever, I still enjoyed it, and I think you should check it out.
And you know what? Before I toss it to you, Rob, because you brought up Justice League, Glenn, I gotta say, because of the 4-hour-long craziness that was Zack Snyder's Justice League, 4 hours, I'd rather watch this film, and y'all know I love superheroes, over Justice League. So there you go. If we're if we're tiering films up, into certain tiers, this gets it over Justice League for me. I'm saying. Anyway, Rob, what about you, bro?
I would recommend the movie because I'm sure there's somebody out there who's going to like the film for what it is. When they were saying that it has True Romance vibes to it, I'm trying to see where they got the vibes from True Romance. I watched that movie every year. I love that film, and that's one of my top favorite movies of all time. So I could see the inspiration from it, but I don't actually get the vibes that True Romance had into this film. But I can see where they're coming from with that. But yeah, I would recommend the movie because I think there were some parts of the film that were very enjoyable, more so than other parts.
Yeah.
But it's all over the place, and that's my biggest problem with the film. It's like going to a buffet. You have like a good slab of like food in front of you, but you have some of the okay stuff, the shitty stuff, and then you have to kind of dig through and find all the other good stuff along the way. That's kind of how it felt like for me. It felt like a very uneven buffet for me personally, but I would still recommend it regardless.
Yeah.
That's a good comparison.
Wait, quick question. What was your favorite part of the movie? Did we all say that? What our favorite?
Oh no!
Oh no, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
What do you?
Well, my favorite part was just some of the kind of zany liners that they had, like the "I'm no Nick Cage." That really cracked me up or whatever. And I thought the female cop was cool. I definitely liked the part where Kelsey, which is the girl, was beating up the dude. I thought her fight scene was pretty cool. How she just gave him the business. I thought that was cool to see. And yeah, I'll leave it there. The zitty one-liners and then the fight scene.
I would echo, actually what you said were gems that I enjoyed as well for me. So I would echo all that stuff. And I do like that fight scene because traditionally, the girl gets beat up. We had a girl that fought back and they actually let her do her thing a little bit. And then also the guy didn't have to come and save her because again, my man was so meek. He ain't do shit really in that fight at all. No. Let's be honest. So yeah, I echo all that. And yeah, I would watch it over Justice League personally. So guys, man, before we leave,
Rob, did you throw your
Oh yeah, did you? I'm sorry, Rob.
No, I didn't even think about that. I think for me, my favorite scenes have to do with the guy that sold the car to Mike. I thought he had some of the funniest bits, and then when he was brought back later on in the movie, him along with the book club guys, I thought they were pretty funny all together because they all have really nice banter going back and forth one another.
Yeah.
So I thought that worked out really well. So if I have to pick one single favorite, it'll probably be that character and his scenes.
Cool, gentlemen. Before we leave out, man. So first date, let us know if y'all taking your significant other on a first date or soon to be significant other, hopefully on a first date. I don't know if I don't know. Would you take this film? Would you take a first date on this first date film?
No.
Nah.
For me,
you might end up doing more talking.
I'll take it to Justice League
than watching this film. Like I was. I still haven't seen You've Got Mail.
Oh wow!
Really?
Wait, I think it was. Wait, You Got Mail. Was that? Yeah, we already said that, right? Was that Meg Ryan or was that Sleepless in Seattle?
Tom Hanks and Sleepless in Seattle was also with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, and this is their second film together. And Dave Chappelle is actually in that movie too. And,
really? See, now I gotta watch
it. And You Got Mail. He was in You Got Mail. Yeah.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah, it was in that movie.
Okay, yeah, I gotta watch that.
This is just before the Chappelle Show. I think around that time.
Word. Okay. I'm gonna check out. And I still it's been a minute since I've seen True Romance because I think you and I discussed that not too long ago. Didn't we talk about True Romance, Rob? Or there's some film you were telling me that where did you get the You're So Cool from?
Wait. Say that. Repeat that real quick, Kuya.
Yeah, because we froze for a second. Where did you get the You're So Cool from, Rob?
From True Romance.
It was true. Okay, so I need to see True Romance.
Yeah, True Romance. I told you before. You got to watch that movie. That movie's amazing. I love that film, and that's to me. I think Tony Scott directed that film. That's one of his best movies. I think by far.
What part was the You're So Cool in?
You've seen that movie?
I've seen it, but I don't remember it.
So if you remember that scene in the hotel where Clarence and Alabama were talking to that producer and making that the drug trade, so. In that scene, there's a part where Alabama writes on a napkin. She wrote down "You're so cool" and then gives it to Clarence after all the shit that they went through. So it was a nice little like heartfelt moment. I'm not sure if I'm doing it just by explaining it, but it's a really nice little scene that they have together, and that always stuck with me. And then when I was trying to think of a title for the show, I had different. I've talked to KP about this. I had get to the point that was already taken. And I think of something else, and I thought let me go with a movie. And that one just clicked for me, so I used that.
I liked it. I like it.
Yeah, man. So True Romance, You've Got Mail, those are back on my must-see list to check out. Before we leave them out of here, man, gentlemen, tell them how they can reach out to you or if there's anything else you want to plug before you bounce out from First Dates.
You want to go first, Glenn?
Sure. Glenn Lawrence, Level Up Comedy, got the new Blur Dad podcast out. We will be streaming it live on Mondays, 8:15. So check it out. Just talking about fatherhood from this blurred point of view. Other than that, Level Up Comedy, and that's it. My last word on First Date was check it out. Check it out with no expectations. I think you'll enjoy the ride.
And you can follow me on my social media accounts at Rob_Medina0585 on Twitter. I'm sorry, on Instagram, Rob Medina0585 on Twitter. I had to think about that. And then Rob the Movie Guy on Facebook. And check out my new show on the channel as well too. The second episode should already be airing by now at this point. And really excited for that stuff because I got some great guests lined up along the way that I'm really excited to talk to as well. So check it out.
Hell yeah. And don't you also have a You're So Cool Twitter and IG now too?
Oh yeah, thank you for my. Yeah, I just started that. So yeah, I have an IG. You're So Cool with Rob Medina, both on Twitter and also on Instagram. So yeah, check it out as well too. So
there we go. Yeah, and then we'll also be sharing everything that Rob puts out on the NRW Twitter, because those guys will have access and they'll be doing all that. So yeah, man, follow the NRW where nerds rule the world. It's at the NRW and at New Release Wednesday. For me, it's Kuya P, and you can follow me at, where am I talking? I'm rambling. At Straight Since 1977, as well as at Temple Far East, and beyond the NRW where I talk pop culture. It's at the Nerds of Color, and also at Show Pal Show for Filipinx representation, man. Giving you all the hotness, man. We got a lot of good stuff coming. Like I said earlier, for this First Date film, I'll have interviews with the director and writers on this project. I will kind of spit out some of what we just discussed here and see where their head was at, if Superbad and True Romance were some of their influences, and also be talking to the leads in this, both the Mike and I forgot the girl's name in this project. So we'll get some insight. How did they feel about it? Did Mike feel that he needed to be so meek? Did he want to say more? I don't know. We'll find out when I talk with them. And also upcoming, because as of this recording tomorrow, this will already be out by then. But The House Next Door, Meet the Blacks 2. I'll be talking to the legendary Cat Williams and the writer director Dion Taylor and some more. Yes,
in there,
hot shit. Yeah. So some good shit coming. Actually, you know what, Glenn? I probably can put you in on that one. We'll discuss that. So anyway, that's just been the NRW. Me and Glenn got shit to talk about. Thank you all for tuning in. We're out of here, y'all.
Peace.
Boom.